if criticizing the integrity of a politician was criminalized? Is not what the democratic concept of a debate of ideas is all about? Well, that's exactly what's happening in Quebec. Recently, across Quebec, a series of elected officials have raised concerns about the threats they claim to have received in the course of their duties, a situation that mainstream media have highly emphasized. It was then predictable that the government will intervene and table a new bill. Legault's party presented Bill 57, aimed at protecting elected officials and facilitating the unhindered exercise of their functions. And curiously, they also added a part making relevant legislative changes in the municipal domain. However, the definition of threat raises questions since public figures seems to be more fragile than before. Can mere disagreement be interpreted as a threat? Or will criticism be deemed as a threat? According to this law, any words or action unduly impeding the functions of an elected official or infringing on their privacy may result in an injunction from the superior court to put an end to it. Furthermore, any threatening, intimidating, or harassing action endangering the safety or, and I emphasize, integrity of an elected official can now be subject to a fine up to $1,500. Integrity? So if a mayor is incompetent and I say it out loud, can I risk a fine? Questioning an elected official could potentially result in a fine. So what will be the future for Rebel News, which asks sensitive and sometimes controversial questions? A flooding of tickets? Also, if citizens disrupt the proceeding of a municipal council meeting, they can now be penalized with a fine up to $500. So if you are angry, don't express it because it will turn out to be costly. These measures, far from protecting democracy, appear to impede freedom of expression and journalism. This raises questions about the role of the media, such as Rebel News, which often reveals uncomfortable information about politicians. And now, will every piece of private life information be subject to penalty? How can this be taken into consideration? To delve deeper into this question, we have invited Simon Rocheleau, a lawyer based in Quebec, to join us in the discussion.
I'm a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for the past, since 2011. My experience is that I've been involved in provincial politics for going almost 15 years now. But in the past 7 or 8 years, I've been more involved in municipal politics. Why? Because it's the closest, it's the proximity level to the citizen. It's the closest level of government to the citizens. I've been involved in municipal politics. I've been to many city council meetings. For the past couple of years now, I've been more of a political commentator, chronicler, with the podcast in Quebec called Yann and Frank. So that's why today I'm talking about this specific proposed bill, Bill 57, that if it's adopted as is, it still needs to be debated in parliamentary commissions, and maybe there's going to be some, at least one can hope for amendments to that proposed bill. But if it's adopted as is, it might change quite a few things for the usual citizens.
La CAQ, Coalition Avenir Québec, the Legault party, have tabled this project of law that say that you can face up to $1,500 for insulting or harassing an elected official?
Yes, well, there's various cases under which you can be fined between $500 and $1,500. First of all, because this applies only for provincial elected officials, so the MNAs, and also for the elected officials on the municipal level. So, and it applies only as their capacity as an elected official. So if, for instance, we take the case of Éric Duhaime, which is the leader of the Quebec's Conservative Party, as everyone knows, he's not an elected official, at least not yet. So, but the thing is that he has a big reach in Quebec. Everybody knows about him. Everybody comments on his various social medias and all, and the comments he receives aren't all that nice. But since he's not an elected official, he cannot benefit from that. Like if someone is very disrespectful or menacing or whatever, they will not be fined under that proposed law if it's adopted as is. The cases where it can apply is going to apply if, let's say, you're a provincial or a municipal elected official. If you can reasonably feel that your integrity is under attack, or also if there is always, like, if you receive like death threats, like physical integrity, you feel in danger, all that. But the thing is that those things, for the parts that really like you're like if you're being harassed or if you're being like you receive death threats, like these are all criminal offenses. That there's already the criminal code. There's already all those things will apply, and contrary to what one might believe, they work pretty well. Recently, we have someone last year who threatened the Prime Minister of Canada and the Premier of Quebec, and he recently has been found guilty in front of the courts. Recently, there was also someone who threatened the leader of the PQ, the Parti québécois, Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, and he's been arrested by the police. How does this proposed bill will help? There's already like our criminal justice that works pretty well. We have our police that does their job. The SQ, the Sûreté du Québec, they already have procedures in place like they have for many, many years. Now I have a document, a copy of a document dated from 2021 that they have procedures in place for when an elected official is under threat. It's not as if there was nothing right now, like it was like the Far West and nothing would apply. Like if someone acts in a way that's a criminal offense, they can still be arrested and eventually found guilty and all that. So for the part where someone if you feel that your integrity is under threat, is under attack, what does this mean? Does it mean physical integrity, or does it mean like, oh, well, he said that I'm not doing a good job, that I'm an incompetent, then I'm not okay with that. My feelings are hurt. This person needs to be fined. That's an interesting slide, like for a system, just like a parliamentary system for our democracies, where freedom of expression is within like our charters. So I don't know where they want to go with that. Let's hope like the official oppositions, but also the other opposition parties in Quebec will do their job, and they're going to ask questions within the parliamentary commissions, because this needs to be defined and maybe restrained, if not scrapped altogether, to make sure that it doesn't go too far. Because the last thing that we would want in a system, in a political system as ours, is to people like to confine themselves. Like freedom of speech is and should still be paramount. So if like for instance, what happened with Justin Trudeau when him and Sophie Grégoire separated, unfortunately, when you become an elected official, I mean, there are pros and there are cons. And one of the cons is that, yes, well, your life is going to be more public, but that's just part of the job. But like, it needs to be more defined, and debated in parliamentary commission, and this needs to be cleared out.
So you're mentioning that nobody will be allowed to publicly release information that are private of an elected official.
What the proposed bill is saying is that if you're an official in his capacity as an elected official, we're going to go back to that. But if someone is in capacity as an elected official is being subject to comments, to people that talked about him, in a way that can prevent him to do properly his work. This part everyone can get on. Well, we can get on board with that, I think. But if it attacks his right to private life, then ask the courts to take various measures, blah blah blah. So I mean, again, I'm not exactly sure how to. I don't exactly know how to answer your question, because for me it's still very unclear right now. And that's, again, as I said before, that's why like we need to have proper debates about this. Like in Quebec, in the National Assembly and Parliamentary Commission, but also like in the public space, like in the media and whatnot. And right now, I mean, like it's not debated as much as one would hope, considering what's at stake. So,
do this law would be able to be challenged in court? Like people receive a ticket and saying like this was my freedom of expression, or this would not be like a subject of challenge at all?
Right now, it's just a proposed bill, but let's say the bill is adopted and becomes law. That's really the questions. As I said before, like freedom of expression is enshrined in our charters, but the question is that you can infringe of some rights within the limits of a free democratic society, as it says in the Canadian Charter. So does this proposed bill of law, would it pass the test or not right now? It's hard to say because again, it's not as clear as personally I would want it to be. So that's the first thing. So again, I hope that it's going to be cleared out pretty soon. As for, let's say, if it's set up as is, if someone receives a ticket, that's the concern that one could have that, well, yeah, I mean, if you receive a ticket because, I don't know, you have one of your municipal councillors says you have not been kind to him and they feel like their integrity is under threat, is under attack, then I believe that, actually that's one of the concerns that, as everyone knows, our courts of law are pretty like the caseloads. They're very big right now, the caseloads in front of our courts. So whichever the level, whether it's the municipal level, provincial courts, federal courts, name it, all the courts are full. Do we need to add more cases? But because again, it's so like, because someone would say, well, no, I know it's like under your criteria, you said that you felt like reasonably under threat, like in regards of your integrity. But again, there's been a case recently, like maybe 2 months ago in Lévis. There's been a case, it's been well publicized in the media. There was a young municipal councillor that felt like that he was being under threat from some words, from some comments from the mayor, Mr. Gilles Lehouillier. And the comment in French, one of the comments that was in the articles was that the mayor would use expressions such as, in French, pétard mouillé, which in English would be shooting blanks. But I don't know, if you say to me that I'm shooting blanks like on some project that I'm working on whatever, I mean, could we really pretend as a reasonable person that my integrity is under threat, or that I'm feeling under threat, like for my security, or that I'm infringed upon the way that I cannot do properly my work because of such comments? I mean, if it's me personally, I wouldn't feel too bad about it, but at least there's at least been one case recently, even before this proposed bill, that the municipal councillor felt wronged to a pretty big level by this. So that raises some question. And also, because this proposed bill comes because for the past couple of months, it comes especially from the municipal level, the elected officials have been complaining that the citizens, they're really unkind, they're very rough, they're rude, blah, blah, blah. And also on the provincial level, the elected official, the MNAs, jumped on that bandwagon as well. And that's the spirit of the law, if you will. It comes because of the past couple of months ago, for the past couple of months, various elected officials in Quebec have been complaining about all I just said. And now the Quebec government comes up with this. So that's, if you put things in their context and their right perspectives, that raises some concerns as well. So, and the law said an elected official in its capacity as an elected official. So again, it's not the same treatment. It's as if you have two categories of citizens. So which is not something that we would want to promote in a society as ours. So
what is the future of journalism regarding that new bill?
That's a good question, because when I first saw this, I was thinking about your colleague, David Menzies, who got tackled recently by Chrystia Freeland's bodyguard. And when the police came, they let him go because there was no criminal offense or anything of the sort, so they just let him go. But like, again, this doesn't apply on the federal level, but let's say like someone like David Menzies or yourself or whatever who's following an elected official, and you cannot get answers to your questions, so you go after them once, twice, 2 times, 3 times, because at various events, because you cannot get an answer to your question. who's to say that the elected official will not say, oh, no, okay, that's fine, like if they don't like you or whatever. I guess what I'm saying is that another concern that I have is that it might leave too much room for an arbitrary judgment, like from the person, from the elected official. So yeah, I guess there's also a concern towards the future of journalism, because sometimes I can totally get that for an elected official or anyone who's making the news that journalists can be seen as annoying. I totally get that, but someone would say that's a necessary means. So again, there's a level that must not be crossed. But again, so no threats, no I don't know, like infiltrating someone's home at night or stuff like that. But if you're just like, oh, I'm getting very annoyed by that journalist, maybe it could be fine. That would be concerning.
Don't forget to go over stopthecensorship.ca, sign our petition to stop the censorship happening here in Canada. Now we have the censorship. Go over stopthecensorship.ca, sign our petition to stop the censorship in internet with the Bill C-63. But now with what we see with Quebec, don't forget that if Quebec started the censorship of their citizen, it's coming to other provinces. So please go over to stopthecensorship.ca and sign it right now.